It's the Tony Rose Morning Show, Bowling Green's Classic Rock D93, and we are joined at this time by the superintendent of Warren County Schools and good friend of the show. And we appreciate him taking some time during these unprecedented times that we are in. Rob Clayton joins us. Rob, good morning, buddy. It's good to talk to you again. First of all, how are you doing? You staying healthy? You staying safe and everything during these times?
Well, good morning, Tony. And first of all, thank you for giving me an opportunity to share some insight with our greater community. But well, but like anybody, it's obviously a challenge each and every day as we try to navigate a lot of the uncertainty. But the family's good, and
Yeah.
I hope your family's doing well, and look forward to brighter days as we continue to move forward.
Well, let's just talk about the elephant in the room here. You know, everybody out there is curious and they want to know. And again, for Warren County especially, but all of our counties, you know, we're all kind of following this new healthy new norm and the new guidelines. But where are we at right now, and what are you guys feeling, and what's the vibe as we look towards August and back to school time right now? I'll just ask you.
Sure. Well, to begin with, I think we have to all recognize it is going to look a little different for all of us.
Right.
But we want our community to know that, first of all, we're committed to being open and transparent, especially when it comes to students and staff. And, right now we have a reopening task force that is being led by our Chief Operations Officer, Jason Capcella.
Yeah.
It's a combination of staff across the district, and we're really highlighting four components as we look to get students and staff back in school. We are scheduled for an August 5 start date. We don't know at this time if that needs to be pushed back a little bit. We're going to seek community's input and have a survey that is ready to go out, but we're waiting at this time, Tony, because we don't want to get information too early.
Right.
Each week, things change, and we are going to be asking our parents what their plans are and what can we do to help support them, but we want to make sure that information is as relevant to the start of school as possible, and so it'll probably be another week or so before we get that information to our parent community. But I do want to touch on the four primary components. First and foremost, it's ensuring the health and safety for all students and staff, and we have, again, staff members across the district that are in a subcommittee working to identify what those challenges are. We're getting tremendous support and guidance from KDE, certainly the health department, our local health department, so it's just a matter of sorting through that information. We have a subcommittee designed and focused solely on the teaching and learning. What's that going to look like? We know it's going to be some type of hybrid model. We're going to have to be able to provide distance learning, which will be different than the non-traditional instruction. We have to raise the bar on that. We have a committee looking specifically at our exceptional learners. We have a high percentage of students that need additional supports.
Right.
And then maintaining efficient school and district operations is our fourth committee.
You talked about a little bit there, NTI, versus distance learning. The NTI, I thought we all did the best with what we could do with how fast everything had to be put together, from the teachers at every school all the way through parents executing it at home. But now, if NTI is something we got to look at, or distance learning, you've had weeks now and months to kind of prepare. So it will look different if we have to do in-home learning again. Is that kind of what you're saying? It'll look different and maybe a little more, not that it wasn't structured, but there'll be more time to plan it, I guess, right?
Well, we have to raise the bar. We did the best we could under the circumstances. I'm extremely proud. However, we have to recognize that for a percentage of our students, it was not enough. And truthfully, it wasn't enough for any of our students. But again, we were put in a very difficult situation. Moving forward, we need to ensure as best we can that the distance learning mirrors what's happening in the classroom. And that's going to take extensive planning. But then it also requires a greater skill set of our staff, and that's something that we'll put in place, again, as we continue to prepare. The other aspect that we want our community to understand is we're going to really count on them. We're going to need strong parent partnership with good hygiene with our students. We're going to be asking them at this current time to be masked. We're going to enforce, probably not a good word, but we're going to employ social distancing. But everyone needs to recognize, and this is a tough thing for me to acknowledge, but it's going to be impossible to guarantee absolute compliance with social distancing measures and guidelines. But we'll do everything we reasonably can to meet our goal, which is to drive as much of the risk down as possible.
Well, I was going to say, so you August 5th, you guys are still looking at that date to try to get back into schools, even if students are wearing masks and they have to, obviously social distancing, but I guess that's a lot of things, especially parents of younger kids, they have questions and I guess things about masks that they are still weird about, but you guys are saying that masks are going to be something that you guys are going to be pushing for in the Warren County schools.
Well, and it's important to understand that if we open tomorrow, that would be the expectation.
Sure.
The guidelines change, and we'll evolve with them, but we are going to follow all the recommended guidelines, especially when you're talking about the health and safety and welfare of our students. We do want our parents to know that we have a very strong disinfecting and cleaning system in our schools. In fact, we were one of the few organizations, probably across the state, that had electrostatic sprayers in our facilities prior to the outbreak. This was something that our director of facilities, Mike Wilson, was out in front of back in the fall as we were looking at how do we combat the flu season.
Right.
And now you're seeing a lot of promotion of those electrostatic sprayers, and we already had them in our facilities because, again, the cleanliness of our facilities has a tremendous impact on the quality of the learning environment. And so, again, we have measures in place to minimize the risk. We're going to be monitoring health more closely. And then I will also mention that our local health department, Sharon Ray, she and I have had a conversation just a few days ago about our next steps. And so I'm confident that the partnership that we have, both locally and at the state level, can provide us a pathway moving forward. But it's going to look different, and we're going to do everything we can to not only have our students back in school, but it helps the community move forward. And the term we're coining is better than normal.
Gotcha.
We're not trying to go back to normal. It's not a new normal. We want to be better moving forward, and I'm optimistic that we can do that.
A lot of folks submitted questions when we said you were coming on. Just say, ask him this or ask Mr. Clayton this. One was about fall break. Talking about, would you guys think about powering through fall break to get those extra days in, just in case there's a winter outbreak or something even in the spring? Are those things that you guys are talking about right now too? Just plowing through as many days as possible to make sure that you can get those calendar days in?
Absolutely. Here's what I would tell you. There's nothing I don't think that we haven't discussed and won't continue to discuss. Here's what I would share with our parent community, because the calendar does play a role in how we move forward. If there are changes in the calendar, number one, we will get that communication out to our community as soon as possible. Yeah. The second thing is we want parents to know that we'll be flexible with them. For example, if I don't know that would be the direction we take in terms of fall break, but just hypothetically, if we did that, we would work with parents who have conflicts already scheduled. So I just want our community to know that as we work together to make the very best of the tough situation, that we'll listen as we always do, and try to, again, do what's in the best interest of our students moving forward.
And another question we got too, if I'm just going to throw it out there to you, like I said, you answered at whatever comfort level you feel about it, but I promised I might ask you. What about split weeks? Certain days like Monday, Wednesday for certain grades, or Tuesday, Thursday, or split weeks and things like that. Is that something you guys have also talked about or are looking into?
Yeah, that's a great question. At this time, Tony, I don't know that that's something that we could reasonably pull off. The one thing, there are a million ideas out there, but what really distinguishes Warren County schools from most other school districts is the fact that we're the fourth largest. We have one of the largest transportation, food service industries, not only of all school districts, but in this entire region. And so when you start looking at rotating and alternating, it becomes a much, much more for a district of our size. So I don't think that that will be the pathway that we take forward, but
Right.
it is something that's being discussed, and we'll certainly look at all potential options that are available.
Rob Clayton, Superintendent, Warren County Schools. Obviously, on June the 11th, it's with the way things change. Sometimes it feels like hourly across the country. It's impossible uh, make an ironclad decision today. But do you have like a drop dead cutoff date where you guys, all right, here's what we got to do? Is there a date on the calendar where it's like, here's our decision day?
We've tried to communicate probably over the last 45 days through Facebook Live events and messages and social media that we're looking at a July 1 window. July
Right.
1's not a magical date. I remind our principals we meet administratively across the district. We were meeting every day. We're down to just on Wednesdays and sometimes Monday and Wednesdays, just trying to keep communication fluid. But there's no magical thing around July 1, but that's the window. We feel like a lot of decisions need to be made within that general time frame, because we also have to plan and prepare for what things will look like. I will tell you that next Wednesday we're going to have, I think, our 4th Facebook Live for our community. We'll take questions, answer those as best we can at that moment. Scheduled for 3 p.m. We'll begin publicizing that, because, again, our goal is to transfer the information as we receive it out to our community, because that's who we serve.
Rob Clayton, Superintendent, Warren County Schools. Of course, everybody is kind of on their own in their own worlds right now, but at the same time, we're all together. I know you guys are probably watching what Bowling Green does on the city side, and probably watching what places like Nashville are doing, or in Tennessee, or even around us. And I know you guys are going to make the absolute best decision that has the best interest of not only our families, but teachers and also kids in mind there. I appreciate your transparency, and I appreciate you coming on and talking with us today, Rob. Like I said, buddy, thank you, man, and you guys keep fighting the good fight. It's crazy times for sure, and I know you guys are doing the absolute best with what you have got the hand that's dealt to you right now. So, time for us this morning, buddy.
It's my pleasure, and thank you, Tony. Greatly appreciate you giving us this opportunity to share this information.
Good stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, take